Muscle tissue. There's three types of muscle tissue. There's skeletal muscle tissue, smooth muscle tissue, cardiac muscle tissue. Let's start with skeletal muscle tissue. These are representing nuclei, and notice how I put it in the shape of an M. It's multinucleated, multinucleated. It's also striated. You can clearly see the striated appearance, the thick and thin filaments. The thick is the myosin, the thin is the actin. And it's also voluntary. These calf muscles didn't happen naturally. This happened with work, right? And this is gastrocnemius. It's the very large calf muscle. The soleus is a smaller calf muscle. But when we change our posture, that's using skeletal muscle. It's voluntary. We're doing exercise, any sort of movement that we consciously make. Moving on to smooth muscle. Smooth muscle, notice each one of these cells has one nucleus. It's uninucleated. Uni, one. Uno, one. Uninucleated. Smooth muscle is involuntary. We don't consciously expand the airways in our lungs, and that's smooth muscle that's doing that. There's also smooth muscle in the liver. There's smooth muscle in the stomach. We don't consciously cause those muscular contractions in the stomach to break down food. That's smooth muscle, involuntary. The tinea coli is a smooth muscle in the large intestine that creates these little pouches, and they're called haustra. It's a distinct characteristic of the large intestine. That is smooth muscle. And there's also smooth muscle in the small intestines that are involved in fat absorption. So again, it's uninucleated, it's involuntary, and located in these different organs. Now let's go to cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle only found in the heart. Notice these little squiggly lines here. These are representing intercalated discs, intercalated. And it looks really great under a light microscope. I recommend searching for that image or looking at it under a light microscope. These intercalated discs are so important. They allow the chambers to, or they enable the chambers to, the muscle fibers to contract in unison. You want the atria, the single atria to contract in unison, that whole atrium, the right atrium, the left atrium. And then you want the ventricles to contract in unison when they contract. So it's very, very important they enable that to happen in conducting the signal. Those intercalated discs only found in cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle, you don't see many nuclei here because cardiac muscle is also uninucleated, and it's only found in the heart, and it's involuntary. Let's take a look at the notes. So skeletal muscle, striated, multinucleated, voluntary. Smooth muscle, uninucleated. We see it in the lungs, we see it in the liver, in the stomach, in the intestines, involuntary. Cardiac muscle, it's also striated, it's uninucleated. Intercalated discs are the distinct characteristic found in the heart and involuntary. Now let's go to the next thing, see if we can do it without the notes. Can we do it without the notes? Skeletal muscle, striated, multinucleated, voluntary. Smooth muscle, uninucleated, involuntary, found in the lungs, in the liver, in the stomach, in the intestines. Cardiac muscle, intercalated discs, uninucleated, striated, involuntary, found in the heart. Thanks for joining me.